Welcome, everyone. I'm excited to kick off today's presentation on the psychology of people who treat their birthday like a normal day. Today, we'll explore what drives this behavior and what it reveals about personality and mindset. We'll look at some interesting reasons behind this attitude and discuss how it differs from celebrating birthdays in the usual way. So, let's dive in and uncover the fascinating thoughts and feelings of those who choose to keep their birthday low-key. Most people grow up believing that birthdays are meant to be special days, filled with cake, parties, attention, and a lot of affection from friends and family. It's almost like a universal rule that we look forward to celebrating these milestones. But surprisingly, there's a different kind of person who sees their birthday quite differently. These individuals often treat their birthday like any other ordinary day. They don't make a fuss about it, they don't announce it to everyone, and they don't expect to receive gifts. In fact, some of them even prefer to be alone on their special day. This contrast highlights an important point about how we view celebrations and personal preferences. It also connects to the broader theme of understanding different perspectives and respecting individual choices when it comes to marking important moments in life. When you see someone treating their birthday like just another ordinary day, it can sometimes come across as cold or indifferent on the surface. But from a psychological perspective, there's often much more happening beneath the surface. It can reveal deep and complex inner patterns that are connected to how they see themselves, things like their self-worth or their emotional independence. Sometimes it's also tied to past experiences or personal history that influence how they approach special occasions. It's important to understand these underlying factors because they help us see beyond the surface and better understand the person's inner world. So, as we explore why some people choose to treat their birthday as a normal day, keep in mind that it's not just about avoiding celebration. It's often a reflection of their internal psychology. This understanding ties back to the larger theme of how our inner experiences shape our outward behaviors and attitudes. When people see their birthday as just another day, it often reflects a deeper sense of emotional independence. They don't rely on external validation or acknowledgement to feel good about themselves. Instead, their self-worth comes from within, from what they've built, learned, or how they've grown over the year. This mindset is usually found in emotionally mature individuals who have developed strong inner stability. They might appreciate a kind gesture or a birthday wish, but they don't depend on it to feel happy or valuable. Their peace isn't tied to social attention or approval. From a psychological perspective, based on self-determination theory by Desai and Ryan, people who find fulfillment through intrinsic goals, like personal growth, competence, and autonomy, are less influenced by whether others celebrate them. Their joy is self-generated, rooted in their own inner achievements and aspirations. So, in essence, these individuals embody emotional independence. They find their validation from within, which makes them more resilient and centered, regardless of external circumstances. Some people feel uncomfortable with attention or praise, and they tend to minimize their birthdays or special moments. This often comes from childhood experiences where emotional expression was discouraged, or where celebrating oneself was seen as selfish or unnecessary. As a result, they might have learned to associate being the center of attention with pressure or vulnerability. When all eyes are on them, they feel emotionally exposed, so they prefer to downplay their achievements or celebrations. For example, someone who grew up as a caretaker in their family might find it difficult to receive love or focus on themselves. Their comfort zone is in giving rather than receiving, which makes accepting attention or praise feel uncomfortable or even threatening. This pattern connects to the overall theme of understanding different ways people handle attention and how childhood influences our current behaviors. So, on this slide, I want to talk about a common way people protect themselves emotionally when it comes to birthdays. For some, treating their birthday like just another ordinary day is actually a defense mechanism. It's kind of like a shield to avoid feeling pain or disappointment. Maybe in the past, birthdays weren't really celebrated or were marked by neglect, broken promises, or unmet expectations. Over time, these individuals might have unconsciously decided, if I don't expect anything, I won't be disappointed. It's a way to guard their feelings. This reaction is what's known in psychology as emotional numbing. It's meant to protect the person from repeated hurt. But the downside is, it also blocks genuine emotional connection and the true joy that comes with celebrating oneself and others. You might notice some signs of this pattern. For example, downplaying or dismissing others, birthday celebrations, or avoiding emotional intimacy during special moments. Sometimes, people make jokes or act indifferent when someone mentions their birthday. Beneath that calm exterior, though, there's often a quiet longing to be seen and appreciated. But that fear of disappointment often overrides that desire, causing them to withdraw or hide their true feelings. Understanding this can help us be more empathetic and supportive, recognizing that sometimes what looks like indifference is actually a protective mechanism rooted in past experiences. Some people genuinely adopt a philosophy of simplicity and impermanence, often called a stoic or minimalist mindset. They see birthdays not as grand celebrations, but as just another passage of time, reminders that life continues on. This perspective aligns closely with Stoic philosophy, which emphasizes that happiness should not depend on external events or circumstances. To someone with this mindset, every day is equally valuable because each one offers a new opportunity to live with virtue, purpose, and gratitude. Their internal dialogue might be something like, "Why celebrate just one day when I can be grateful for every day I wake up alive?" And this isn't about avoidance or indifference. It's about detaching from societal expectations and finding deeper fulfillment through private reflection, whether that's setting new goals, expressing gratitude, or spending time alone. Instead of loud social rituals, they often find meaning in quieter, more personal ways of marking time. So, this mindset encourages us to rethink how we view milestones like birthdays. It reminds us that each day holds value, and happiness isn't tied to external celebrations, but to our inner attitudes and daily choices. Sometimes, not celebrating your birthday can actually be a sign of deeper emotional fears. It's often about fear of vulnerability and rejection. You see, a birthday is more than just a date. It's like an invitation to be seen and loved by others. And for some people, that can feel incredibly intimidating. Especially if they've experienced emotional abandonment or rejection in the past, the idea of opening up and being vulnerable can be terrifying. They might subconsciously think they don't deserve to be celebrated, or feel like no one would really care if they disappeared. So, instead of risking emotional pain, they choose to keep things controlled. They might pretend it's just another day because that feels safer than exposing their feelings. In psychological terms, this kind of behavior often aligns with what we call avoidant attachment patterns. Basically, it's about maintaining emotional distance to keep themselves feeling safe. It's a protective mechanism, even if it might limit connection with others. Understanding this helps us see that sometimes, when someone avoids celebrating their birthday, it's not about not caring, it's about protecting themselves from potential hurt. And that's a powerful connection to the overall theme of emotional vulnerability and how it influences our behaviors. So, on this slide, I want to talk about what I call the quiet confidence of self-acceptance. For a smaller group, treating their birthday like any other day actually reflects a deep sense of contentment. They don't feel the need for a special occasion to reaffirm their worth because they live with gratitude all year round. Instead of celebrating themselves with external gestures, they focus on daily discipline, self-respect, and personal growth. Their sense of fulfillment comes from within, not from external validation. You might hear them say, "My life is the celebration. I don't need a date for that," which really captures this mindset. This kind of calm detachment usually shows up in people who have experienced significant personal transformation or spiritual growth. They've moved beyond seeking attention or validation from others, not out of numbness, but because they've found a genuine inner peace. So this slide emphasizes that true contentment often comes from a quiet, consistent practice of self-love and growth, an important part of the broader theme of authentic fulfillment we're exploring today. When someone treats their birthday like just another day, it doesn't necessarily mean they're cold, sad, or broken. Sometimes, it can mean they've grown emotionally independent and are comfortable on their own. But it could also be a sign that they're guarding old emotional wounds, protecting themselves from vulnerability. To really understand what's behind that behavior, we need to look beyond the surface. What might seem like indifference could actually be deep healing, or perhaps a form of deep protection. Whether they come across as stoic, self-sufficient, or quietly wounded, one thing stays true. Their relationship with their birthday reflects how they see themselves, their self-worth, and their capacity for emotional vulnerability. And often, in that quiet refusal to celebrate, there's a powerful message. I don't need external validation or celebration to feel enough. I'm learning to find that within myself, even in silence.